Is your marriage an illusion? That's the question for the day. Tell me if you see yourselves in this situation. You're going through life. Days are fine, right? You're living your life, doing your things. Then something happens. You have a run-in with each other. You want to sometimes address it. You want to bring it up, but you don't, either because you don't know how you would even do that. You don't know when the best time is. You tell me that you wouldn't even know how to start the conversation, right? So you don't. You think to yourself, well, we'll just, I don't even know if I should be bringing it up because it seems so small or so silly or so stupid. You let time go by. You're like, well, we'll just like time will heal it, right? Like time will take care of it. A day goes by, 2 days go by. At the end of day 2, one of you reaches out to the other person and initiates sort of contact or re-engages with the other person, right, in one way or another. And so then you slowly start going back to, okay, we're on speaking terms again, we can, right? But you fail to address the thing that happened, right? You fail to go back and sort of clear that up and clean it up. So it just gets shoved under the bed or under the rug or in the closet or wherever you keep these things. And then you're good for a little bit, and then something else happens again, and it's the same thing. You don't talk about it. You let some time pass, and then you kind of cool off on both ends, right? Both you and your spouse, and then one of you reaches out again, and you re-engage one another, and then still you haven't talked about this other thing, or you haven't talked about any of them, and so by the end, right, it just keeps being this constant cycle. And my question is, are you two caught in that same cycle? I remember the very first time that somebody brought this or presented it in this way, right? That I was able to kind of put words to what was happening. But he would tell me that like we either have really a great time together and we're doing great, we're in sync, we're in agreement, we're making plans together, everything is working out, right? We're hopeful, we're helpful to one another, all the things, right? Then something happens, and then you can't talk about it then because you're so upset, and so then you tell yourself, well, this is not the time. And yes, there's some, right? I actually tell my couples not to talk about it when they're straight in the middle of the upset or of the emotion, but they wouldn't talk about it, right? Because the message was, I don't want to mess up the great. Like then we get back to we're great together, and I don't want to muddy the waters with what happened 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago. But the problem with that is that never gets cleaned up, right? And so it's collecting under your bed or in that closet or under the silly proverbial rug, right? And it's like the elephant is the size, by the time 22 years go by, if this is the rhythm, the elephant is like the size of an entire planet, because we haven't ever gone back. And if you do, right, which then is like, well, we do try, but then why does it not work? And most of the time it doesn't work because when it does come up, it comes up on the back of something else, right? It comes up on top of another situation. So we're like, then we bring in all the other things and we try to like, okay, here, let's clean this up. But then you end up with so many things on your table, so many things on your plate that you're like, I don't even know, this plate is so big, I don't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know which one to sort of start eating, or how to cut this up, or how to make it a size that's edible that I can pick up with my fork, right? And so then it just becomes this like, I don't want to mess up the great, and we don't talk about, like, in the bad times, then like we're bad, we're not doing great, but then when the good comes, we shy away from it. We don't want to ruin this. And the tragedy of this is is that if this is right, if this is the cycle, if this is the thing that you're also caught in, and for you it may be 2 years, it may be 2 months, it may be 22 years. You have like the backlog of that then comes up. There's no good way. There's literally no good way to clean that up in one sitting. So I want to invite you to be willing to change your mind about, I don't want to mess up the great times when we have them, and to be willing to bring something up when you are good and you can actually have an adult kind of conversation about this, right? Whatever this is for you in this moment, so that you don't keep collecting these things over days, weeks, months, and years, leaving yourselves to this right in this impossible situation of now we don't have a clue how we would even go about doing this. So if it seems impossible at the individual level, when you bring 100 of them together, then it's definitely impossible, right? And I will agree with that. If you're thinking to yourselves, but we don't know, we don't know how we would talk about this, we don't know how to bring this up, we don't know. And if you're wondering, like, is there a way to make it go away faster, or to deal with this sort of in like the short version kind of a way, so that it's not hanging over your heads, and so that you're not kind of dragging it along to wherever you're going, and for who knows how long, for how many years to come. I have a video where I talk you through how to have that conversation, how to say the words that you need to say, so that these things don't end up hanging over your head. And if you are interested and looking for more tips and tricks and tools for your marriage, and you're sitting there thinking, we have not gotten any, this is the place for you. So I will post those videos I mentioned, and I'll see you in there.